Group 10. Okay. Thank you, Safa, for letting us pretend to explain about our paper that about challenge in writing English essays, reflective from Sultan University in education, students, exploration by me. In this group, there are me, me, and my friends, Silari. I will say about introduction. First is background of the study of non-adaptive speakers. Students often struggle in writing and performing. They recommended to many challenges when writing it. One of them is in terms of linguistics such as grammar errors, inaccuracy in construction structure, and limited vocabulary. When writing an essay, there must also be consistency in the arrangement of sentences and paragraphs. Moreover, another important aspect but suitable starting arguments are often difficult to find. And next is restriction. First is what are the linguistic challenges that students face in writing language essays? Second is what are difficulties students face in structuring their English essay consistently across paragraphs? Third is what are the difficulties students face in finding appropriate and credible arguments for their English essays? And the last is what strategies or recommendations can be implemented to help students overcome challenges in writing academic essays. Next is research objective. First is to explore the linguistic challenges students face when writing English essays, such as grammar errors, sentence structure, inaccuracies, and vocabulary limitation. Second is to analyze the difficulty in finding a strong sentence statement idea and organizing consistent sentence and ideas within each paragraph. Third is to understand the difficulties students face in finding strong and credible and supporting arguments for their English essays. Fourth is to explore the strategies or recommendations can be implemented to help students overcome challenges in writing English essays. Next is the literature review. The first is theories. It will be explain about writing, essays, and essay writing. First is writing is widely regarded as one of the most integrates language skills. Second is essays. It's a structured piece of writing that focuses on central topic, elaborated through multiple paragraphs. And then essay writing consistent a core component of writing instruction. Next is the role of English essay writing among university students. First is essay writing as a tool for developing thinking and language skills. Second is essay writing as a means of academic evaluation and skill reinforcement. Third is strategic role of essay writing in academic and professional success. Next is the challenges in writing English writing. First is difficulties with grammar, vocabulary, and sentence structure. Third is lack of planning. Third is plagiarism and low self-confidence in writing. Next is previous study about challenges in essay English writing. There are previous study. First is about exploring students' difficulties in writing English academic essay by Monotech et al. 2022. And next is the issues and challenges in the use of coherence among Jordanian EFL students in writing academic essays. From Alexandria and Yunus 2023. And then last is Indonesian EFL's cross-student reflection towards action in listening comprehension by Maharani 2023. Next is the research method. First is research design, use a qualitative phenomenological research method. Next is data collection method, use structured interview and thematic analysis. And last is population example, use random purpose sampling to represent representative of students in the Institut Ageng Tirtayasan University majoring English education, semester 6 class B, who had taken the English essay writing course. And next will be explained by Dela Herena. For the time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Inka. So I'll explain about the instrument of our research. We have four research questions, and for each research question, we make three interview questions. The first research question is about the linguistic challenges that students face in writing in language English essays. We asked about the grammar mistakes, difficulties in create correct and clear sentence, and also difficulties to find the right vocabulary when writing English essays. And the second research question is about the difficulties students face in structuring their English essays consistently across the paragraph. And we asked the interview about how they usually organize the content of their essays, and also the trouble connecting ideas between paragraphs, and the difficulties compassing an essay from introduction to conclusion. It's like this. And the third research question is about the difficulties students face in finding appropriate and credible arguments. We asked about the difficulties to find argument or supporting information. Also, the how the student usually finds stable arguments or supporting information. Also, the criteria they apply in selecting credible and reliable arguments. The fourth this question is about the strategies or and recommendation to be implemented to help students overcome and challenges in their writing English essays. And the first interview question is about how they uh, uh, when they get struggle or stuck, how they manage them, and how they maintain their motivation on writing English essays, and also how they find the guidance of lecturers or teachers can be very influential in composing their English essays. Next slide, please. Okay, next is the finding and discussion. So, from the first research question, we found that students struggle with grammar usage, such as tenses, subject, verb, agreement, and auxiliary verbs. And also, we found that they often make sentences based on the Indonesian thought patterns, so that the structure feels unnatural, and they're limited. Their vocabulary make difficult for them to express ideas appropriately and in context. And the second research question is the difficulty students face in structuring their English essays consistently in cross paragraphs. And we found that students had difficulty maintaining their continuity between paragraphs due to the lack of planning and disorganized order of ideas. And we found that they experienced problem in using appropriate transition sentences so that the flow between paragraphs feels still stiff and incoherent. And also, we found that the idea development in the body of essay is a major challenge, as there is often repetition or unstructured switching of topics. Next slide. And this is the third and the fourth findings. The first is the difficulty students face in finding appropriate and credible arguments. And we found that most students find it difficult to find credible arguments. And also, students utilize the internet source such as Google Scholar, Mendeley, and other trusted websites. And also, students apply criteria to the arguments they look for to the internet by ensuring that the sources are credible and forwarding both sites like Wikipedia. And the fourth this question is about the strategies or recommendation can be implemented to help students overcome challenges in writing English essay. And we found that students have various ways, such as checking the outline, pausing, and asking for help from lecturers or friends. So students have various ways of maintaining their motivation, such as using songs while writing in quiet class, and eating their favorite snacks while writing. And also, they feel the guidance from lecturers and teachers is also considered important. Next slide. Um, And this is the conclusion of our research. So students face significant linguistic challenges in writing English essays, including confusion in tenses, subject verb agreement, and auxiliary verbs. Also, they struggle with complex sentences and selecting important vocabulary, and students also struggle with essays organization, maintaining coherence within paragraph, and also they lack contextual understanding and clear planning, leading to disjointed and poorly structured essays. And these challenges emphasize the need for developing essay organization skill and strategy. And it is also important for students to maintain their motivation when writing essays. The role of the teacher also really important because the student needs the feedback of those who are experts so that their essays are better. Next slide. And this is the limitation and further recommendation. So this study has a limitation that it only has access to samples of English education, so it cannot represent all the students in English education. But the small number of the sample make the interview and data discovery process for the study more in-depth and accurate. And the further research is recommended to explore the challenges students face in writing English by conducting observation, maybe interview and direct assessment of student essays, and with larger sample of students to improve quality of the findings. That's all from me. Thank you. Like the thing.
So, okay, thank you, Della. So, I give it back to the moderator.
Okay, thank you for Group 10 to explain about your topic. So the topic concludes that students struggle with linguistic challenges in writing English essay, including tense confusion, vocabulary selection, and essay organization, resulting in designing work, utilizing technology strategy techniques, and receiving teacher feedback can help improve their writing skills and motivations. So the next presentation will be delivered by Group 7. For Group 7, time is yours.
Ya, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. This is our group from the second group. It's Vito Franco and me, Ahmad Sulaiman. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Going to the background of the study, English speaking fluency is an essential skill for ELT learners, but many students struggle with it due to psychological barriers, especially social anxiety. The study aims to explore how social anxiety affects English speaking fluency in real classroom settings and to provide insight that help educators build more supportive learning environment. Next slide, please. So this our research question. The first is uh, how does social anxiety manifest in EFL learners speaking fluency during classroom interaction? This question aims to uncover the specific way in which social anxiety affects students' speaking performance. It investigates the sign of anxiety that appears during speaking tasks, such as frequent pause, the use of fillers, repetition, avoidance of eye contact, and refusal to speak. The goal is to identify behavior and verbal indicator that suggest a student is struggling with anxiety during oral communication in class. Second is, what role do classroom dynamic play in exacerbating or reducing speaking anxiety? The second question focuses on how social environment of the classroom influence as learners. uh, as learners' anxiety level. Examine the effect of peer judgment, teaching feedback, group work, and classroom atmosphere on student confidence to speak. This help understand whether certain classroom conditions make learners feel more comfortable or more pressure during speaking activities. The third is how learner perceive or manage anxiety in real-time speaking tasks. This question look at student personal experience and strategies for dealing with anxiety during speaking tasks. Is explore their thought, emotion, and coping mechanisms such as researching mentality, avoiding eye contact, staying silent, or using relaxation technique. The aim is to understand how students respond to anxiety in the moment and that help them or doesn't manage it effectively. Next slide, please. So this our research purpose. The research purpose of this study is explore the effect of social anxiety on English speaking ability in classroom interaction among EFL learners. This research aims to examine how social anxiety influences learner ability to communicate fluent in English during classroom activities such as discussion, presentation, and group work. Next slide, please. And significance of the study. This study provide educator with actionable insight to create sportive, low stress environment. The finding emphasizes the need to address physiological barriers alongside linguistic skill, offering strategies like collaborative tasks and positive feedback to boost confidence and fluency. Next slide, please. So this part will explained by Kiko Franco. Kiko Franco, time is yours.
Okay. So this is our chapter two. It's a literature review. So first we have the definition of social anxiety. I think everyone knows social anxiety, and anxiety are known as also as a social phobia is a psychological conditions characterized by an intense and persistent fear of social or s- or per- or performance where individual anticipate negative evaluation, embarrassment, and judgment from others. Uh, so the effect of social anxiety in English language teaching. So, in some, there's some effects such as it makes students avoid speaking even if they know the answer, or a cause of physical reactions, for example, shaking, fighting, or mental blocks. Like my his mind's going blank. They are talking in with the social anxiety. For example, is a student stays silent during discussions because they're afraid to making mistakes. And there are also a speaking fluency in English learning. As as we all know, speaking fluency is means that speaking smoothly without long pause or fillers, such as uh, and not just vocabulary or grammar. Confident students also speak more fluently with even with ours. But anxiety disrupts fluency because never students may know the words but struggle to say them clearly. For examples, if a student get with good English scores with a high scores in our written, but in presentation they may be stutters because due to the anxiety. And there is our theoretical frameworks. First, we have the Cassion's affective filter hypothesis from 1982. Its emotional factors like anxiety act as a mental barriers, blocking language input and output. High social anxiety raised the affective filter, hindering fluency despite linguistic knowledge. And second, we have the cognitive behavioral theory of social anxiety. Anxious learners experience fear of judgment, negative self-talk, and avoidance behaviors. These cognitive distortions lead to this fluent speech. Example, pause, fillers, in classroom interactions. Next. And from our previous study, we have found that we have these three study result is in Liu and Jackson 2008 found that social anxiety Chinese university students avoided speaking due to fear of negative evaluations, leading to this fluent speech even when they knew the answers. And also in Woodrow 2006 showed that anxiety international students in Australia spoke slower, used simpler vocabulary, and paused frequently during the presentations. The physical symptoms. examples, trembling, exacerbating performance. Also, in 2011, 2017 demonstrated that high anxiety learners underperform despite linguistic competence, as cognitive overload from anxiety disrupted fluency. Next. So this is our research methodology. So this research design is focused more on the qualitative approach and focus on in-depth exploration of students' experiences with social anxiety and speaking influency. Our participants from 8 students, EFL learners from Sultan Agam Petayasa University, using a purposive sampling selected based on varying comfort levels of speaking English. Next, and our this methodology next is our data collection technique. So first is we using a semi-structured interviews and open-ended questions on anxiety triggers, coping strategies, and classroom experiences, and also a classroom observations, Yavis track, hesitations, failure, avoidance, speech flow. So we are going to have a survey for those students with a social anxiety where they share the experience where the social anxiety occurs, and also we are going to observe the classroom. How do the students with a social anxiety do in a classroom environment? Next, and this is our findings. Our findings from the research. Um, so there are 3 anxiety levels and fluency, and it affects the fluency. So first, the high with students with high anxiety, we can pause fillers like avoidance. I rehearse but I freeze when I'm speaking. So, and then moderate anxiety, hesitations in high pressure tasks. Example, presentations. And there's also a low anxiety where fluent despite lower proficiency. So from these anxiety levels, we can see that there are 3 students pe- with a high anxiety where they are have a lot of pause because of they freeze when speaking because the anxiety tuck in when they're speaking. But in low anxiety, although they are probably aren't fluent enough, but because they're still in low proficiency, but because of the low anxiety, they are fluent enough to deliver their topics. And also the common triggers in anxiety include speaking in front of the whole class, being asked unexpected questions, comparing themselves to more fluent classmates, fear of making grammatical or pronunciation errors, plus negative feedback from teachers or peers. Next. And this is our finding. So anxiety blocks access to language knowledge, linguistic versus psychological barriers. Some students had strong vocabulary or grammar but still struggle to speak, but others with weaker skills but higher confidence spoke more smoothly. So, why this thing happens? So, anxiety triggers a cognitive overload, such as working memory disruptions, making it harder to access known language. It's supported by the crash and affective filter theory, and also fluency isn't just about the knowledge, it's about managing emotions. And next, and this is the discussion. So psychological barriers outweigh linguistic skills. So yeah, some students with strong grammars of vocabulary spoke less fluently due to anxiety, while less proficiency with confident person perform better. And also there's a classroom dynamics amplify anxiety. A peer judgment, teacher corrections, high stake tasks such as presentations, it makes the students raise in anxiety because of the high pressure task. And also there's affective supports identified. Um, in the affective supports, there are some effective things that teachers can use to more effective sports to support the high anxiety students. Next. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Back to Ahmad.
Yeah, for summary of the key findings, social anxiety disruptions in EF learner causing pause, fillers, and the avoidance due to fear of judgment. Proficient but anxious students underperform, while confident peers speak more smoothly. Supportive environment, group works, positive feedback can reduce anxiety. Addressing emotional barriers is key to improving fluency. Next slide, please. So this is implication for teaching to help anxious learner. The first is foster a supportive environment with positive feedback and peer cooperation. Second is use scaffolded tasks, e.g. Role plays, presentation. The third is teach anxiety reducing technique, mindfulness breathing. The fourth is over flexible participant option, recorded versus live response. The fifth is normalize mistake and provide preparation time. So the teacher training on emotional barriers can further enhance fluency. Next slide, please. So the limitation of the study has a small sample size, 8 EFL learners, limiting generalizability, qualitative method provide a depth but lack a statistical breadth. Self-reported data may include bias and observation were subjective. The university-only focus includes other learning contexts. Cross-section design prevent tracking change over time. Future research should expand samples, include qualitative measure, and explore cultural influence. Next slide, please. So for suggestion for future research, future studies should expand to the first year learner across age and cultures using mixed method, qualitative and quantitative, and longitudinal design. Explore technology VR or AI for anxiety reduction, cultural influence, and personalized intervention. Collaboration between linguists and psychologists could develop target strategies to overcome fluency barriers. Next slide, please. So that's all from us. Thank you. Back to the moderator.
Okay, thank you for group 7. The presentation can call that the presentations uh wait. The presentation scolded that social anxiety greatly affect EVL learners speaking fluency, with psychological barrier limited their ability to express linguistic knowledge. It emphasized the importance of supportive environment and anxiety reduction strategies to address both emotions and linguistic challenges in the classroom. So the next presentation will be delivered by group 19. For group 19, time is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from group 19. Today, I'll be presenting our study on exploring the role of technology in enhancing collaborative learning experiences in higher education. This research aimed to understand how digital tools are reshaping group learning and communication among students. Next slide, please. This is our members. There's me, Rosan Fatolikam, and Rizky Zikra Ramadan. Next slide. Let's begin with the introduction. Technology has revolutionized education, particularly in the way students interact and collaborate once limited to physical classrooms. Collaborative learning now thrive in digital spaces, thanks to tools that offer flexibility, accessibility, and active engagement. However, traditional group work still present challenges such as geographical limitation, unequal participation, and research constraint. Our study explore how technology addresses these issues in higher education setting. The background is the development of technology has significantly transformed education landscape. Collaborative learning, once confined to physical classroom, is now possible through virtual platform. Digital tools support flexible, accessible, and dynamic learning environment. The research problem students often face challenges such as limited resource, geographic barriers, and lack of engagement in traditional group activities. The purpose of the study is to explore how technology support and enhance student collaboration and communication in higher education. Next slide. We focus we focus on three key areas. First is technology as a facilitator of collaboration. Second is transformation of group learning through digital tools. And the third is identifying both challenge and opportunities in tech assisted learning. Our research, next slide. Our research questions include first, how does technology enhance collaborative learning? Which technological tools are most effective for student collaboration? What are the primary challenge in implementing technology in group learning? How can educator and the institution optimize the use of technology in learning? Next slide. Study objective. Our objective were to analyze technology role in student group work and engagement, to evaluate the effectiveness of digital platform in collaboration to offer practical recommendation for technology integration. Next slide, please. A theoretical framework. The study was grounded in three educational theories. First is social constructivism by Vygotsky. Learning is inherently social. Learning occurs through social and collaborative interaction. Second is the connectivism. Knowledge is built through digital network and digital platform. And the last is collaborative learning theory. Peer interaction enhance understanding. These theories highlight the importance of interaction and technology in modern learning. Next slide. Past studies shows tools like Google Doc, Zoom, and Moodle enhance group work. Next, online forums boost participation and idea sharing. Technology adds flexibility in when and where learning happens. These findings support the growing importance of tech-enabled learning environment. Okay, the next material will be presented by Rizky Azikra. Rizky Azikra, time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Rosa. So, okay, So how we did our study? We use a mixed method approach that meant both numbers or quantitative and a personal opinion qualitative. We surveyed the students and lecturers. We did interview to hear their personal experience. We also observed a group work happening both online and in person. Then we analyzed the result using a coding or for terms and simple stats. Next slide, please. Okay. So what did we learn from this finding? From the surveys and interviews, 80% of students said technology made them more engaged and better at communicating. And tools like Google Meet and Zoom help facilitate smoother uh, teamwork. Challenges included digital fatigue and technical issues. From our observation, students using online tools were more active and they completed tasks faster and more efficiently. We also saw trends like frequent use of tools like Trello and Google Drive, more motivation and responsibility among students, and also flexible and smoother interactions between years. Okay, next slide, please. Uh, Common trend identified. Here's what all of this means. Technology makes group learning better in many ways. The first one is more students get involved in, including the quiet ones. Also, everyone can give and receive feedback instantly. It's easier to track who's contributing what, but it's not perfect. Long online session can be exhausting. Internet is and unfamiliar tools can slow things down. Teachers and students need time to learn how to use new tech. Next slide, please. Okay. Interpretation of finding. The finding clearly indicate that technology positively influence collaborative learning by increasing student engagement, enhancing communication, and promoting equal participation. Tools like Google Docs, Zoom, and collaborative platforms provide a flexibility and remove a physical barrier, allowing students to work together regardless of location or their schedule. Digital tools encourage active participation, especially for students who are less vocal in traditional settings. The real-time feedback feature available on many platforms helps students refine their ideas and stay aligned on a group objective. Collaborative technologies foster a sense of shared responsibility, as each member's contribution can be tracked and evaluated transparently. Despite the benefits, the students report a digital fatigue, particularly during a long online session. Technical issues such as internet instability, lack of access to devices, or unfamiliarity with platforms can hinder collaboration. There's also a learning curve for both students and lecturers when mastering digital tools effectively. Uh, okay, the role of educator. Lecturers need to act as a digital facilitator, guiding students in how to use collaborative tools effectively, setting expectations, and maintaining engagement. Designing tasks that align with technological affordance will, while still achieving learning objectives is the key to success. Implication for equity and access. Technology helps bridge gaps for students in remote or under-resourced areas, making collaborative learning more inclusive. However, institutions must ensure that equitable access to device, internet, and digital support prevents widening the digital divide. Next slide. Okay. Educational implication. So for institution, schools and universities make digital tools part of regular learning, integrate collaborative tech tools into university curriculums, invest in infrastructure and support systems. And for educators, continuous digital training and skill development shifts toward blended and flipped learning approach. So what we recommend, there are five key recommendations. The first one is use collaboration tools like Google Docs or Microsoft Teams regularly in classes. Second is offer regular digital literacy training for students and also lectures. The third is provide technical support during online learning activities. And then evaluate the effectiveness of each tool used in collaborative tasks. And the last one is foster a strong culture of digital collaboration on campus. Next slide. Study limitation. No study is perfect. No study is perfect, and here are our limitations. The first one is limited observation time frame. The second is dependence on internet connectivity. Uh, in a- from a single institution. We studied this in one university. And the last one is variation in student digital literacy level. Not all students had the same technology skills. Okay, next. Okay, the conclusion. To wrap up, technology can really improve how students learn and work together. It helps them communicate, share ideas, and stay engaged. But we need to handle the challenge carefully and support both teachers and students to use it well. So thank you so much for listening. This is from us, and thank you. Back to moderator.
Okay, thank you for group 19 to explain about your topic. So the topic concludes that the study emphasized the important role of technology in supporting collaborative learning in higher education by boosting student engagement, communication, and teamwork. Despite some challenges, digital tools have proven effective in engaging group learning, highlighting the need for ongoing support, infrastructure, and training. So, the next presentation will be delivered by Group 17. For Group 17, time is yours.
Okay, for all, thank you to the moderator for the opportunity given to us. I'm Hadil Fadilita with my partner Amanda Ardelia Rahma. We are Group 17. Today we are honored to present our research title Motivation in Language Learning, investigating factors that influence motivation among English language learners in different educational contexts. Next slide, please. Here are overview. There are introduction, literature review, research methodology, findings, discussion, conclusion, and the last recommendation. Next slide, please. Motivation is widely recognized as a central element in language acquisition. It influences how much effort learners invest, how persistent they are, and ultimately how successful they become. In an era where English functions as a global lingua franca, understanding what motivates students to learn this language is important for educators, policymakers, and curriculum designers. Our study focuses on specifically on learners into different educational contexts, formal settings such as a school or universities, and informal settings such as private course or independent learning environment. Next slide, please.
Our research is guided by the following key question. First, what are the key factors that influence the motivation of English language learners in different educational contexts? Second, how do intrinsic and extrinsic motivational factors vary among learners in formal and informal educational settings? Third is, in what way do teaching method and classroom environment impact learners' motivation? And the last, how does a learner's culture background affect their motivation to learn English? Next slide, please. Here, through this study, we aim to identify the major factors that influence learner motivation, explore how this factor manifests differently in formal and informal learning contexts, and the last, provide practical recommendations to teachers and policymakers to enhance student motivation. Next slide, please. This study draws on case theories about what motivates a student to learn English. The nurse socio-educational model identifies two types of motivation: integrative and instrument. Another key framework is Daisy and Ryan's self-determination theories, which distinguish between intrinsic motivation, which is learning for enjoyment or interest, and extrinsic motivation, learning due to reward or external pressure. The theory highlights three essential physiological needs to support motivation. They are autonomy, content, and relatedness. A classroom environment and teacher behavior also play a crucial role. For enthusiastic teacher who create a positive and safe learning space can boost student motivation. In contrast, regret less focused classroom may lower motivation. Social and cultural factors matter as well. In some contexts, English is seen as essential for success, which enhance motivation. In others, it may be viewed as foreign or unnecessary, which can reduce interest. Technology can also increase motivation by making learning more engaging and relevant to real life. Next slide, please. For previous study, there are Ahmad et al. 2014 found that interactive student-centered teaching increased motivation among students in Islamic school in Malaysia, especially in culturally constructive settings. And next, Yoda, 2011, emphasize the roles of intrinsic motivation and how learning English connect to student personal identities and goals. Next, Harmer 2007 argued that extrinsic motivation such as the desire for good grades or a job can serve a starting point that eventually leads to intrinsic interest. Next, Hussein et al. 2020 showed that emotional support from teacher had a greater impact on learning motivation than physical research. Next, the last is Ryan and Daisy 2000 demonstrate that meeting student needs for autonomy, competence, and relatedness lead to more self-regulate and lasting motivation. Next slide, please. For research methodology, this study employ qualitative research designed to examine the factor influencing motivation amongst English language learner across various educational contexts. This approach allows for in-depth insight into learners' experience, particip- perception, and socio-cultural backgrounds related to their motivation. Using a phenomenological method, the study aims to understand how learners interpret their motivation and the internal or external factor that shape it. Next slide, please. For the population and sample, participants are English language learners from two backgrounds: EFL learners in formal education and those in informal education. A purposive sampling method will select 10 participants, but male and female based on their willingness to participate and ability to share their experience. For instruments, the primary data collection instrument is a questionnaire based on them for existing literature focused on types of motivation, learning in formal versus informal education, social and cultural attitude towards English, and personal goals. For data collection, data will be collected through a qualitative open-end questionnaire enabling participation to share their motivation for English learning English. The questionnaire will include 10 questions informed by Gardner socio-educational model and self-determination theory addressing personal motivation, classroom influence, social attitude, and challenge in language learning. Okay, that's all for me. For next topic will be delivered by Amanda. For Amanda, time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Pastor. Let's move to the findings. This chapter presents the findings from the quantitative data contextual questionnaire. And we find the first one is factor of motivation. It is intrinsic versus extrinsic. So the participant demonstrate variety of motivational orientation, which were largely shaped by their educational context. So the reason for English learning were rooted in personal enjoyment, curiosity, and the pleasure of understanding English media communicating with people from other countries. And the second is influence of learning environment and teaching practices. The student in traditional institutional teachers classroom often feel bored or stressed due to limited opportunities for meaningful language use. And the participant who experience interactive, engaging, and student-centered teaching approaches uh, reported feeling more motivated and confident in their language learning journey. And one student, after we do a questionnaire, one student explained, they say that my teacher always encourages us and uses fun activities that makes me want to speak up more in English. And the second and third, cultural attitudes toward English. The participants shared how cultural perception of English influenced their motivations. And these participants tended to feel motivated because learning English aligned with societal expectation and aspiration. And the fourth is challenges and support systems. These participants reported several challenges that impact their motivation, including low confidence, limited speaking practice, and technological. And also, they have difficulties, especially in rural or underrepresented areas. And however, support from teachers, friends, and family played a crucial role in maintaining their motivation. Next slide, please. And next, the discussion. There are motivation in different contexts. So the learners in formal settings, like schools, university, were mainly driven by extrinsic factors like grades and career goals, while those in informal settings, like language clubs, online learning, or
with stronger extrinsic motivations such as enjoyment and curiosity. And next is role the teacher and learning environment. Tips, active and with enthusiastic teachers significantly boosted motivation for the student. And the third is social, cultural, and personal influences. The cultural attitudes or the family expectation and societal perception learns the learner shape the learner's motivation, and many learners stay motivated by their long-term goals and future self-image. And the next is interaction between intrinsic and extrinsic motivation. Study motivation was found to be dynamic, with learners often starting with extrinsic reason, but gradually developing intrinsic interest. And the last is implication for teaching and curriculum design. Educators should support both extrinsic and intrinsic motivation by setting the clear goals and using the relevant material and promoting the autonomy. And teachers should be training include the motivational strategies. Next slide, please. Next, the recommendation. So the first one is teachers should be trained to apply motivational strategies that support both extrinsic and intrinsic motivation. The teachers should also receive training in learner methodologies that they can better understand how to foster a growth mindset and maintain the student enthusiasm. The second is learning materials will be designed to reflect learners' interest, real situation, and future aspiration by incorporating relevant themes such as technology, cultures, or global issues. Students are more likely to see the value in what they are learning. And third is class environments should promote personal inclusiveness related to meaningful interaction. The learners are more motivated when they feel respected and accepted regardless of their proficiency level, and such as group work, peer support, and open discussions will be encouraged to reduce language anxiety and build learners' confidence. And the next is educational institutions should integrate technology to support personalized and autonomous learning, such as mobile application, interactive platforms, and virtual exchanges with peers from different countries allow the learners to customize their learning experience. And like its parents and community members should be engaged in supporting learners with motivation. Motivation does not only arise from the classroom but also influenced by the home and social environment. And that when the learners see that their efforts are valued by those around them, they are more likely to take the part in their topics. Next slide, please. Related to conclusion, so this qualitative study for the factors influencing motivation among English language learners in various educational contexts using Gartner's socio educational model and self-determination theory, it found that motivation is shaped by both personal and environmental factors. Learners in formal setting were more extrinsically motivated, while those in informal settings showed stronger intrinsic motivation, and the key influences included student behavior, classroom environment, cultural attitude, peer support, and learners' aspiration. A notable finding was the interaction between intrinsic and extrinsic motivation, where external goals often led to internalized phenomenal motivation, and the study offered recommendation for the educators, curriculum designers, and policymakers to better support learner motivation. That's all from us, I guess. Back to the moderator. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for group 17 to explain about your topic. So the topic conclude that this study explores how various personal and contextual factors such as teacher behavior, classroom environment, and cultural background affect the motivation of English language learners across different educational settings. It emphasizes the importance of creating learning experiences that help shape extrinsic motivation into intrinsic more meaningful and lasting language learning. So the next presentation will be delivered by Group 16. For Group 16, time is yours.
Okay, thank you, moderator. So, hello everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Muhammad Krianto, and I'm excited to be the moderator for this session. I'm also with my partner Andi Amandio Brawira. So today we'll dive into an interesting research study that looks on at how virtual classrooms, specifically Google Meet, are shaping students' performance in English at English Department of UNTIRTA. So let's go into the material, shall we? Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Okay, so the background of the study. The research titled Assessing the Impact of Virtual Classroom on College Student Performance. A study in English Department of UNTIRTA focuses on evaluating on how the use of Google Meet, a virtual classroom platform, affects students' performance in English. The study originates from the rapid advancement of educational technology and the urgent need for online learning caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. As traditional classrooms were disrupted, digital platforms like Google Meet become essential for continuing the learning process. Its features, such as real-time video interaction, screen sharing, and user-friendly access, help bridge the gap in communication between teachers and students. Several studies of Google Meet in enhancing engagement, interaction, and academic performance, especially in language learning. This study seeks to investigate whether similar positive results occur among students at English Department of UNTIRTA, especially in the 2022 generation of students. Next slide, please. So, the research question. The main research question posed in the study is, sorry, does the use of Google Meet as a virtual classroom tool affect student performance in English lessons? That the English Department of FK. Next slide, please. Okay, so the research objectives. This study aims to examine the specific impact of Google Meet on students' performance in English. It intends to measure how this platform influences students' motivation, engagement, and speaking proficiency. The goal is to provide concrete data on whether online learning through Google Meet can improve education outcomes in English language learning for 22 generation students. Next slide, please. So the research method. This material will be presented by Andi Amadio Prawira. So Amadio Prawira, time is yours.
Thank you, Muhammad Herianto. For the research method, to address the research objective and gather the necessary data, a quantitative research method was utilized. This approach was deemed suitable for answering the research questions systematically and effectively. This research conducted at FKIP Untirta Ciwaru. The participants in this study are 10 students from 2022 generation Sorry, guys. This research conducted at FKIP Untirta Ciwaru. The participants in this study are 10 students from 2022 generation students of English Department FKIP Untirta, divided into two groups, an experimental group and a control group. The experimental group will give the treatment of intervention being studied, while the control group will follow the standard learning process without the intervention. This division aims to compare the outcomes between the two groups to evaluate the effectiveness of the interventions. To assess the impact of using Google Meet as a virtual classroom on students' learning outcomes, pre-test and post-test assessment will be used. These tests will measure students' knowledge, skills, and engagement before and after the intervention, providing a clear indication of any changes resulting from the virtual learning experience. The data collected from the pre-test and post-test will be analyzed to determine the impact of using Google Meet as a virtual learning platform on students' learning outcomes. The analysis will focus on comparing the performance of students in the experimental group, which is those using Google Meet, and the control group, which is those not using Google Meet before and after the intervention. Next slide, please. Okay, now we are going to the result and discussion. The first is improvement in student performance. The results from the pre-test and post-test indicated a notable advancement in the academic achievement of students who engaged in virtual classes through Google Meet. This progress is influenced by various elements of the online learning environment. One key factor was the structured access to digital materials, which allowed learners to revisit recordings, aiding their grasp of grammar and pronunciation. The self-paced nature of virtual learning also empowered students to manage their own learning more comfortably, reducing stress and increasing the concentration. Next slide, please. The second is increased student motivation and engagement. The incorporation of Google Meet into the educational process brought a noticeable improvement in students' enthusiasm and participation. Learning in the experimental group expressed feeling more connected and enthusiastic about English classes delivered through virtual means. This was mainly because the platform interactive tools encouraged them to engage actively rather than just listen passively. The integration of multimedia elements like video, graphic, and interactive presentation provide visual aids that enhance understanding and made lesson more enjoyable. Another key factor was the flexibility of virtual learning, which allows students to study from home and manage their time more freely. These conventions help reduce the pressure often associated with traditional schooling and encourage learners to take charge of their own learning journey. Next slide, please. And the last point is role of Google Meet features. Google Meet contributes significantly to enriching the learning process by offering various tools that supported both instructors and students in an online setting. Its functionalities enable live communications, stimulate content sharing, and promote collaboration, key aspect needed for successful language teaching and learning. Among the most effective tools was the share screen sharing option, which let educators show slides, play instructional videos, and visually explain grammar and vocabulary. This feature helped sustain students' attention and clarified complex topics through visual reinforcement. The breakout room feature was also instrumental, providing students with opportunities to work in smaller groups or pairs. These private spaces encourage conversation, peer collaborations, and speaking practice through role plays or discussions, critical elements for building language fluency and self-assurance. In conclusion, Google Meet offers far more than a platform for virtual meetings. It serves as a comprehensive and engaging educational space. Okay, I think that's all from me. Back to the moderator. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Angel Rivera. So next slide, please. So the conclusion is Google Meet and similar digital platforms, when integrated thoughtfully, can enhance language learning by offering a flexible, inclusive, and engaging environment. The study supports the idea that virtual classrooms are not merely temporary solutions during crisis, but viable educational tools for the long-term development of modern encourage to explore ways to strengthen and expand the use of such platforms. Next slide, please. Okay, I think that's all from our group, and thank you for listening. So back to the moderator.
Okay, I think we for group 16 to explain about the topic. So the topic of that, the study highlight the positive impact of virtual classroom, especially through Google Meet on student language skills, motivations, and engagement compared to traditional face-to-face learning. What virtual learning offers flexibility and interactive features that support student participation. Challenges like internet access and digital literacy must be addressed for long-term success. Also, the next presentation will be delivered by Group H. For Group H, time is yours.
Thank you, moderator. The next presentation will be delivered by our group. The title of our group is The Role of Storytelling in Improving Young Learners' English Comprehension. The member of the group is me, Putra Ramadhani, and Syahra Dwita Lavianti. Next slide, please. The next is introduction, a background. English comprehension is a vital skill for young learners' academic and communication success, but it can be challenging due to limited language exposure, low engagement, and traditional teaching methods focus on rote memorization. To address these issues, storytelling has emerged as an effective and interactive teaching strategy. It engages children through meaningful narrative, helping them acquire vocabulary, understand sentence structures, and enhance overall comprehension. Storytelling also stimulates imagination and emotional involvement, which boosts motivation and language learning. Research by Abresman 1998, Semestry 2014, and Kalantari and Hashemian 2015 supports the positive impact of storytelling on developing speaking skills and vocabulary among young EFL learners. Beyond traditional storytelling, digital storytelling has also shown promise in improving both reading and listening comprehension. Studies by Choi, Bakar, and Zubir and others have demonstrated the effectiveness of digital tools in improving rich language input and promoting active participation. Despite these findings, more research is needed to understand the specific effect of storytelling of different aspects of English comprehension. The study aims to explore how storytelling activities influence vocabulary learning, listening, and reading comprehension among young learners, offering insight and practical strategies for teachers to engage English instruction through both traditional and digital storytelling methods. Next slide, please. And the next is research question. The first is, what is the effect of storytelling on young learners' comprehension? The second is, how does storytelling impact young learners' ability to understand spoken and written English? And the last is, what is the difference in comprehension improvement between students exposed to storytelling and those taught using conventional methods? Next slide, please. The next chapter is theoretical framework. And the first is the concept of storytelling in language learning. Storytelling is a powerful and engaging method in language learning that offers contextualities and meaningful exposure to vocabulary, sentence structure, and discourse patterns. It is especially beneficial in EFL classrooms as it naturally enhances a learner's listening and speaking skills. By hearing stories, students practice understanding pronunciation, intonation, and rhythm, while activities like retelling and summarizing stories help build fluency and speaking confidence. Additionally, storytelling creates a positive emotional connection to language learning by reducing anxiety and fostering a relaxed, interactive classroom environment. This emotional engagement encourages activity participation and better retention of language. Storytelling is also highly adaptable. Storytelling is also highly adaptable, allowing teachers to tailor content to different age and proficiency levels using various story types, visual aids, gesture, and expressive delivery to make learning more accessible and enjoyable, particularly for young learners. Next slide, please. And the next is young learners and language comprehension. Young learners, typically aged 5 until 12, acquire language differently from adults, relying more on context, repetition, and interaction than explicit grammar instruction. Their comprehension skills are influenced by cognitive development, exposure to language, and engagement with meaningful context. Multisensory experiences like listening to stories, watching video, and singing songs play a key role in developing their listening and reading comprehension, enabling them to understand meanings, recognize words, and follow narrative. Creating an emotionally engaging, playful, and interactive classroom environment is essential for young learners. They learn effectively through imitation and participation in meaningful language activities such as games, songs, role plays, and especially storytelling. Teachers supporting this process by modeling correct language use, using visual aids, and reinforcing learning through repetition and familiar routines. Storytelling, in particular, offers rich, contextualized language input that connect vocabulary and grammar naturally, engage imagination, and help children make sense of the word, enhancing both their comprehension and emotional connection to language learning. Next slide, please. And the next chapter is research methodology. The research method is descriptive, qualitative, explores learners' experiences and perception. Paradigm is interpretivism, understanding meaningful from participant view. The constructivism is knowledge is shaped through social interaction. The participant is 15 students from SD Mendong, subversive sampling involved in storytelling activities. And the data collection, we are collecting it from online questionnaire via Google Form, an open-ended question to explore learners' experiences in them. And the next material will present by Shahara.
Thank you, Putri. The next material is findings and discussion. In the finding, there's a 5 point that I will explain. So this chapter presents the findings of the research aimed at understanding how storytelling helps students improve their English language comprehension. The research was conducted through semi-structured interviews with 5 students at SDN Mandal who had been introduced to English through storytelling activities during their classroom interaction. The collected qualitative data were analyzed thematically and several prominent themes emerged from the students' responses. And the first point, there is an enhancement of vocabulary mastery. Is one of the most significant findings of the study is the positive effect of the storytelling on students' vocabulary acquisition. All 5 participants mentioned that they were able to learn and remember new English words more easily when those words were introduced in the context of a story. Unlike traditional vocabulary drills, storytelling provides
a meaningful and memorable context, which help the students associate the new words and specific characters, events, or image from the story. The use of visual aids such as pictures, puppets, and expressive body language during storytelling session contribute greatly to this engagement. And this indicates that storytelling not only introduces new vocabulary in a natural and engaging way, but also supports retention by linking language with visual and emotional experience. The second point is improve listening comprehension and story understanding. Storytelling was also found to be effective in developing students' listening comprehension skills. Students reported that they were better able to understand the meaning of spoken English when it was present in the form of a narrative. The repetition of key phrases, consistent use of simple sentence structures, and the supportive use of gestures help the learners follow the storyline more easily. Some students also mentioned that they could infer the meaning of unfamiliar words based on the overall plot of the story, rather than needing to understand each word individually. This ability to use context clues in an essential part of language acquisition and shows that storytelling fosters deeper cognitive engagement with the language. The third point is increased engagement and motivation in learning. Another prominent result of this study is the effect of storytelling on student motivation and classroom engagement. All participants expressed that they enjoyed storytelling session more than regular English lesson that involve textbook reading or rote memorization. They describe storytelling as fun, exciting, and something to look forward to. This heightened level of engagement was largely due to the interactive and imaginative nature of the stories, which captures the students' attention and sparked their curiosity. As a result, students were more willing to participate, ask questions, and use English during classroom discussion. The fourth point is development of critical thinking and imagination. Although not initially targeted as a research focus, some responses indicate that storytelling also contributes to students' cognitive development. When asked about their favorite stories and characters, students were able to explain why they like certain part of the story or how they imagined alternate endings. The show that storytelling does more than teach language, it also stimulates imaginations, predictions, and reasoning. Such activities indirectly support language development by encouraging students to think critically and use English to express their ideas, preferences, and interpretations. The second point is the challenges and limitations. Despite the overwhelmingly positive response to storytelling, the study to uncover some challenges faced by the students. A few participants admit that they struggle to understand the story when the teacher spoke too quickly and they used words that were too difficult. This indicates the need for teachers to carefully select stories that are appropriate for the learner's age and proficiency levels. In addition, the effectiveness of storytelling relies on its execution. The teacher's storytelling skills, including pronunciation, clarity, speed, and utilization of visual aid, plays a significant role in how much the students can understand and learn. The next one is discussion. There is a 3 point. The first point is effects of storytelling on comprehension skills. The finding on confirmed that storytelling significantly enhanced young learners' English comprehension. This is line with research Isabel et al. 2004, who found that storytelling improves students' ability to understand narrative structures, vocabulary, and content. When stories are present in a lively and engaging manner, the learners are more likely to pay attention, process the language input, and retaining meaning. Moreover, Nguyen 2016 emphasizes that storytelling strengthens comprehension because it provides contextualized and meaningful exposure to a language. Students learn not just word and grammar, but also ideas and are connected across sentence and paragraphs. The next one is challenge and limitation. While storytelling provides effective, several challenges were observed. Successful storytelling requires skill in voice modulation, pacing, and the use of gesture. Some teachers may not feel confident or trained in these techniques, which may hinder the effectiveness of storytelling. Additionally, storytelling sessions often require more time than conventional text production, making it difficult to align with rigid school schedules. The next one is comparison with other teaching methods. Compared to conventional methods such as textbook reading or grammar drills, storytelling offers a more engaging and authentic language learner experience. Traditional methods tend to isolate the language components. So the conclusion is the study found that storytelling significantly improves young learners' English comprehension, especially in listening and reading by providing meaningful and engaging language input. It enhances vocabulary acquisition, understanding of sentence structures, and learners' motivation. While challenges such as limited time and the need for teacher training were not, storytelling remains an effective teaching strategy. The study encourages its use in classroom and suggests research usage to explore its long-term impact across various age groups and proficiency levels. That's all from Group 8. Thank you. Back to moderator.
Okay, thank you for group 16 to explain about, sorry, thank you for group 16 about, sorry, thank you for group 8 to explain about your topic. So the topic concludes that storytelling effectively improves your learning English, especially listening and reading. It sports vocabulary structure and motivation. The set challenges like time and training. It remains a strong teaching method. Further, research should explore it long-term impact.
All right. I'm Ahmad Sulaiman. Will be substitute Safaria for the as a moderator. So going to the next presenter is group one. For the group one, time is yours.
Okay, thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group 1. The member is Savaria and me, Khaira Nabila, as a moderator. So today we are pleased to present our research titled Exploring the Effectiveness of Group Discussion in Enhancing English Speaking Skills. So this study explores how group discussion can improve students' speaking performance in the context of English as a foreign language based on qualitative data gathered from students at SMA and Satsudima. So, for the introduction, the background of the study is in English language learning, speaking is often considered one of the most challenging skills to master. Many students struggle with speaking due to anxiety, lack of practice, and insufficient feedback. A traditional teaching method tends to emphasize grammar writing, while speaking is often under-practiced. Group discussion offers an alternative by encouraging interaction, spontaneous speech, and peer feedback. Previous studies, such as those by Anthony and Cempaka, have shown that group discussion helps students become more active, confident, and fluent. Next is the problem formulation. English as a foreign language student at SMN Satu Benua face challenges in fluency, confidence, and practical language application due to inadequate implementation strategies like student engagement and insufficient curriculum integration of group discussion. And the problem formulation is how the group discussion contribute to improving a high school student in English speaking skill. What challenges do students face when participating in group discussion to improve their speaking skills? How do students perceive the effectiveness of group discussion in enhancing their English speaking abilities? What specific speaking skill, example, fluency, pronunciation, confidence are most improved through group discussion? And last is what factor influence in student engagement and participation in group discussion? Now, the objective of the study is to examine how group discussion help high school students improve their English speaking skill, to identify the challenges students face when engaging in group discussion to enhance their speaking abilities, and to explore student perception on the effectiveness of group discussion in improving their English speaking proficiency, to analyze which aspects of speaking skills are most positively impacted by group discussion, and lastly, investigate the factors that affect student participation and engagement in group discussion. For the next material will be presented by my friend Saparia. Saparia, thank you so much.
Okay, next. Okay, you can see in our PPT, and our research is supported by several key theories. First, Fiodsky social cultural theory emphasizes learning through social interaction and scaffolding, which aligned with the peer-based nature of group discussions. Second, Carson's import hypothesis states that language acquisitions occur when learners are exposed to input slightly above their current level, known as E+1. His effective filter hypothesis also highlighted the importance of emotional stability in learning, XCD, and increasing language absorptions. And lastly, communicative language teachings or CLT promotes authentic communication, learner autonomy, and the use of the real-life language skills, text of the which are core elements in group discussions. And the next methodology, we use qualitative research approach involving 20 students from Semarang Binuang. The data were collected using open-ended questionnaires that allowed participants to freely express their thoughts, experiences, and challenges related to group discussions. We applied thematic analysis based on Brown's and Clark's framework to identify patterns related to fluency, accuracy, confidence, peer interaction, and student perceptions. And the next result of the study. Okay, a key finding with the results show a significant improvement in speaking fluency. Students reported being able to speak more naturally and without overthinking. Some mentioned that they start to think in English instead of translating from their native language. In terms of accuracy and vocabulary, students improve through repeated exposure to peer speech and information corrections. One student notes, my friends often correct my grammar, and from that, I learned the correct tenses. This interaction contributes to better understanding of grammar and increasing vocabulary to contextual use. And confidence and peer interaction, like students also reported increases confidence in speaking. Uni said that they felt safer and more supported in small group compared to world class speaking. One student said, I feel more confident because everyone supports each other. I'm not afraid of making mistakes anymore. Peer interaction played a central role in learning. Students observed how their peers structured sentences and responded, which helped them imitate and apply those from this reflects the process of scaffolding and so contraction of knowledge and basis in social cultural theory. And the challenges and reflections, while the overall feedback was positive, students also identified some challenges. Some groups were dominated by one or two students, making it hard with unfamiliar vocabulary or unclear pronunciations. However, students generally reviewed these challenges as opportunities to improve and open to adapting their communication strategies. This finding suggests that even imperfect groups discussion provide valuable learning experiences. Thanks. And you can see with the group discussion support fluency through real-time input and output. And the peers feedback promotes metacognitive awareness, self-learning, improvement, reduce effective barrier, and reflect core principle of social, cultural, and communicative learning. Okay, that's all for me. Thank you,
Thank you,
moderator.
Safari. Thank you, Safaria. So the conclusion is to conclude, group discussion is an effective method in enhancing English speaking skill, especially in fluency, grammatical accuracy, vocabulary development, and confidence. It provides students with authentic language experiences in a collaborative, student-centered environment. We recommend that English teachers regularly implement structured group discussion in the classroom. Teachers should also monitor group dynamic and ensure that each member has the opportunity to participate meaningfully. And this is the limitation and suggestion for further research. Our study was limited to one school and a small sample. It also used a qualitative method only, which may not capture measurable improvement. Further research could include larger samples, combine qualitative and quantitative method, and explore the use of digital platform for group discussion. And the rest, this study showed that with the right ingredients, group discussion can be a powerful tool to promote active language learning. So, uh, that's all from our booth. Thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Group 1, for the great presentation. So, from this presentation, we conclude that group discussion is a highly effective strategy for improving student English speaking skills, particularly in fluency, grammar, vocabulary, and confidence. It recommends regular use of structured discussion in classroom with teacher guidance to ensure inclusive and meaningful participation. Thank you, Group 1. For the next presentation will be presented by Group 5 for Group 5 time issues.
Okay, thank you, moderator, for the opportunity. So, this is our research topic. The title is the application and impact of fictional novels in enhancing high school student creative writing skill development. And this is our group member. There are Putu Johar and me, Hayati Lopes. Next slide. And this is the background of the study. Creative writing is an important part of language learning, especially for high school students. It helps them express their thought, develop their imagination, and improve their language skill. Through writing creatively, students learn how to organize their ideas while gaining the confidence to communicate in their own unique style. Fictional novels are a great tool for this because they introduce students to real and relatable language, provide engaging story and character that they can connect with. Next slide. And this is the significance of the study. The first is encouraging student reading and writing skill. Fictional novels play an important role in developing student reading and writing abilities. By engaging with this text, students interact with authentic and complex language, which enhance their vocabulary, comprehensions, and analytical skills. Additionally, novels inspire creativity by exposing students to diverse storytelling styles, narrative technique, and cultural themes, encouraging them to experiment with their own writing. And the second is insight for teacher in implementing fictional novel in ELT. This study also holds significance for educators by providing practical strategies for teaching fictional novels in ELT setting. Introducing novels into the classroom can be challenging due to factors like student varying reading levels and resource limitation. However, this research addresses such barrier by offering approaches that makes literature more accessible and engaging. The next slide, please. And this is the literature review, theoretical framework. Creative writing is a valuable part of English language teaching because it helps students develop their language skill, express their ideas creatively, and stay engaged in learning. It allows students to connect with the target language on a deeper level by using it in an unique ways to share their expressions, experiences, and emotions. Because according to Malay and Keys, creative writing transforms learning into a meaningful and enjoyable process, combining imagination with language practice to enhance overall proficiency and critical thinking. Next slide. And the second is the role of fictional novel in stimulating creativity. Fictional novels are an excellent way to spark creativity, especially when used in English language teaching, because they offer engaging stories, relatable character, and vivid words that inspire students to think creatively and explore new ways of expressing themselves through language. Because novels draw readers into compelling narrative that ignite curiosity and encourage them to dive deeper into imaginative thinking. This helps students not only develop their creative skills but also connect more meaningfully with the language they are learning. Next slide. And the next is previous study. Research has shown that literature play a powerful part in improving student writing skills through exposing learners to descriptive messages, complex themes, and diverse perspectives. Literary texts help them develop creativity, critical thinking, and analytical abilities. Research by Hambali 2021 demonstrated how mind mapping paired with literary analysis improve student ability to organize thought and express ideas. And research by Sudan et al. 2021 explored the use of multimedia tools combined with literature to enhance engagement and coherence in writing. And a study by Susanti 2021 analysis of Hemingway's short stories show that dipping into complex literary themes sharpens critical thinking and encourage well-reasoned argument. Even during remote learning, research by Rivaldi 2021 found that literary activities such as digital storytelling help students stay motivated and creatively engaged, particularly in Indonesia, incorporating both local and global literature like Laskar Pelangi and works by Pramudia Anantatur enrich cultural understanding, but also while boosting writing proficiency. And overall, literature serve as a versatile tool that fosters creativity, linguistic growth, and emotional development, making it a valuable resource in English language teaching. That's all from me, and next will be explained by Trijohan.
Okay, thank you. Uh, I will be explaining the result and discussion of our paper. So the first is impact on students' creative writing skills. So fictional novels have a powerful impact on developing students' creative writing skills in English language teaching. These novels serve as valuable models for complex language, storytelling techniques, and emotional depth. So it's encourage students to expand their vocabulary and explore creative ways of expressing themselves. So these novels help students improve descriptive writing through vivid imagery, enhance narrative skills by teaching story structure and character development, and promote linguistic flexibility by exposing learners to diverse styles of language use. The second result and the discussion that we got is improvements in language fluency, originality, and coherence. So the usage of fictional novels enables students to learn to express emotions and feelings, as well as supporting the implementation of effective learning, utilizing ideas, emotions, imaginations, and feelings into language learning in hopes to improve students' language skills. So the acquisition of creative writing skills is a gradual process that occurs through practice, according to Aprilia in her research in 2022. And then we also have aligned this improvement with the theory of behaviorism by B.F. Skinner. So the repeated exposure, also known as trial exposure, to certain contents in this research, fictional literary works such as novels, resulted in the improvement of language fluency among students who read novels and where fictional novels are applied and implemented in the English learning curriculum. And then it is shown that all 5 students in our research, the participants, are avid readers of fictional novels. Reading fiction exposes students to diverse vocabulary, complex sentence structures, and nuanced dialogue, which directly improves their language proficiency. So according to Martin De Leon and Hermoso in their study in 2020, some students who are fiction readers develop stronger verbal abilities compared to non-fiction readers. And then fiction fosters authentic creativity that enables students to reinterpret established narratives. Students' ability to interpret and establish an understanding of the theme and overall content of the story aligned with creative and critical thinking skills according to Nguyen in 2022. Fictions allow the readers to delve into the intricacies of plot and connection. Thus, students can recognize a pattern and eventually think critically, and finally resulting in interpretation and problem-solving skills. The next of our result of discussion is response and engagement levels. Improved engagement levels when implementing and applying fiction novels in creative writing on ELT is due to personal relevance and emotional connection. So students reported deeper involvement when novels allowed them to explore identity or critique social norms, immersing in fictional characters' perspectives. So, for example, rewriting dialogues from Romeo and Juliet, etc., increased empathy and narrative investment, with 4 out of 5 students reported enhanced critical thinking. And then one of the students stated that their engagement and response level increased and improved when learning language using fictional novels and studying creative writing. Not only do they feel connected and relevant, but the students are more excited and interested in following the learning activity and incorporating a media that interests them. And lastly, we have learning motivation. The increase in learning motivation align with the improvement of student engagement. So all of the students are more motivated when fiction novels are implemented in teaching and learning process. So the students demonstrated greater willingness to participate in creative writing activities or language learning activities in general when fictional novels were used as the foundation. Secondly, exposure to diverse narratives motivated students by allowing them to connect with characters and themes that resonated with their own experiences. Finally, activities like peer feedback and group discussions around fictional texts enhance classroom dynamics and motivate students to refine their writing skills through shared learning experiences. And finally, the conclusion of our research. So, fictional novel plays a transformative role in English language teaching or ELT by enriching students' creative writing skills. They provide engaging narratives, emotional depth, and complex language that help learners develop descriptive and narrative writing abilities, emotional intelligence, and cultural awareness. Fiction inspires creativity and originality by exposing students to diverse styles and storytelling techniques. The study this study emphasizes the importance of integrating novels into ELT classrooms through activities like rewriting scenes and peer feedback, supported by teacher training and accessibility resources like digital libraries. So that's all from our group. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Group five. I will show you the summary in this point. This study explores the application and impact of fixed model in enhancing high school student perspective while things within ECC. Novels serve valuable tools by improving language fluency, originality, and coherence through the execution of narrative and complex language structure. They also boost student engagement, motivation, and critical thinking by fostering emotional connection and creative interpretation. The research highlight the importance of integrating novel into ELT curricula through the interactive activities and system. Thank you.